whenever I speak. Narrow-minded. I see Matt's head.
Okay, I have the post up. Let me sticky the post.
You don't need to know what you do in your free time, bro.
Me either.
I would just like to say that I am proud to be associated with an Android blog that does not post stories like top 5 chargers for the HTC One M9.
Yeah, I saw that today.
Are we live?
Yep.
Never mind. I wasn't going to say anything.
Look, everybody saw that. It's not like it's a secret. Come on, everybody knows.
They're owned by an accessory company.
Uh-oh, don't go there. We've been 155
Whenever I see that on Twitter, I'm like, I
there.
think it's like some guy in a trench coat walking up to you on the street. Hey, bud, want to buy a charger?
I don't know where that's been.
It's only a 40% markup from Amazon.
Why does it have that funny coil in the cable? Where's it hanging? Are you wearing clothing underneath that? I'm a little scared.
No, all those M9s keep him warm.
M9? All the M9s make me warm. I keep them close to the skin. I have no rash at all.
I don't know why, but that sounded less like World War II German and more...
It didn't even sound German!
Albert Einstein.
All I'm doing is just being loud.
No, that's like Albert Einstein from the Talking Lips bits that they used to do on the Conan O'Brien show.
You have to be a little more... a little more... I don't know. That sounded Indian, kind of.
It's funny how that happens, though. Your brain really just wants to go there, apparently.
Yeah, it was close. Albert Einstein! E equals MC squared.
We are closing in on 300 comments on the Galaxy S6 review.
Oh boy!
Come on, I'm in AP podcast withdrawal here.
This is just fantastic.
Yeah, we could not work out a day last week. We tried every day very hard, so much to try, yes.
So many hards.
So many hards we tried. And it just was not to be, unless it was going to be like in the wee hours of the morning. So many hards.
That's what she said.
No, she didn't. Jeez. Do we want to start the show?
I mean, we could maybe do that, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's actually.
Well,
we still have pink topics.
But I don't know anything about them.
Well, you're gonna learn.
It doesn't matter. You have to do them.
You have that whole first story to read them.
You're gonna get learned about those pink topics.
I'm definitely not doing this teardown one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the teardown one is like, nobody actually cares.
Teardowns are not good podcast
Who buys
material.
movies on Google Play?
I do.
Do you do it with your own money or with accumulated Play Store credit?
Oh no,
I just bought. What did I just buy? I just bought Interstellar the other day.
I was gonna say, if you bought Star Wars, I will slap you over the internet.
No, I bought Interstellar the other day with my free rental credit that I got from my Chromecast.
So you didn't really buy it.
Yeah, you didn't buy anything.
I've technically, if that counts, I've purchased 2 movies recently on Google Play because I have 2 Chromecasts, and thus I got 2 free movie rentals.
Nice.
I did buy Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory like several months ago.
I mean, I've rented movies from Google Play before
If you want to view
it's easy to deal with on my phone.
Yeah, I've actually rented before. I've never purchased.
No.
Anything you want to do it.
I wish that they had
change the world.
the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I would buy that. I'm gonna look.
it is so many hearts to find that movie.
Well, I think that I could probably go through.
Oh snap! They do. They have the original now. They have the 40th. They have the 40th anniversary edition of it.
Oh,
Well, there you go.
goodness.
Oh,
Okay,
and-
so I'll go through the library that I have of movies on Google Play, and I bet you that you all have all of these movies. Big,
Probably, yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
No,
Blank,
no.
What?
Blank. It was a Disney Vinylmation one that was free.
Nope.
I do not have that one, no.
I think I have Transformers, Dark of the Moon, and that's it. Which was a free movie. Maybe that was the one before the other.
That was
Like, yeah.
that was the one that they were giving away like way back when the first Nexus 7 came out, I think.
Yeah, I have never bought a single or rented anything on Google Play Movies ever.
That's a little weird.
Why though?
It's just,
I mean,
I don't know, like, well, like,
I have an iPad.
I know, okay,
mean-
but see, here's the thing, like, most of the time, like, I'm using an Android device, and it's just easier for me to browse movies in the Play Store because then I can, like, stream them to the Chromecast or use a Roku or whatever to watch them.
Yeah.
Gravity.
Yep, I have that one. I have, do you have the Fellowship of the Rings?
We have no pinks. I'm going to switch headphones though because these are annoying.
I do have the Fellowship of the Rings. And
The original X-Men?
Yes.
Yep, I forgot
also
that I have Gravity.
I also
That's a good
have,
movie.
The Labyrinth with David Bowie. I bought that one. Yeah. So I have rented several movies from Google Play, but I've actually purchased 2. Those movies.
Okay, we should do a show.
What?
We should.
Are we? Isn't that what we're doing? I mean, this is what we normally do on the show.
You know, somebody on Reddit, I don't know how this came out. Somebody on Reddit like said something about the podcast, like they're too structured. They need to have more free flowing conversation. And I'm like, wait. Are you implying that we don't go off on tangents? Because I think that's pretty much all we do.
I think it is. But I think that is tangential to our current discussion and that we should start the show.
That was so good.
We can't hear Bob or Matt. Bob is muted. Matt also appears to be muted. Unless I'm going selectively deaf. I can hear you through Matt's now, but I can't hear you through you because you're muted in Hangouts.
Well, I always come in through Matt's.
Oh, okay.
So
I couldn't hear you though.
And now we can doubles. I just heard an echo.
Yep.
who's echoes?
You echoes.
I heard
You and I echoes.
Can you mute yours? Did it come unmuted?
Oh, you know what? Yeah,
we can hear you guys now.
They mentioned that you were muted through the Hangout, and I clicked on you. I'm like, yes, you are, but
Yeah,
I forgot
don't do that.
I forgot your video is actually my.
Right. I actually click on myself over here if I need video, but I don't
Yeah.
very often.
When I think about you, I click myself. I click myself.
Yeah, there's too much latency. If I were to do my audio through yours or through that Hangout and whatever. All right, let's start the show. Oh, it's not loud enough. I need to set the levels. Gosh darn it. Okay. Ready for show?
Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Thursday, April 10th, 2015. I'm your host, Matthew Smith.
I'm David Ruddick.
It's actually Friday, and I'm Cameron Summerson.
Oh my goodness.
Do we
you
want to
do
do
it
that
again?
again?
God
You
damn
sound
it.
crunchy, too. Your mic sounded really crunchy when you said that.
Crunchy Mike.
I apologize.
Cheetos crunchy or like Pringles crunchy?
Like peaky crunchiness.
Like kettle
I
corn.
turned my gain down too.
Corn. Ooh, that's a
Maybe it's
squeaky
because
crunchy.
I was like, maybe it's because I was like right
Oh
here.
no, you're vibrating my headphones.
Do you like it?
Do you like when I do that?
No, I don't actually.
Oh my
It's very
gosh.
uncomfortable.
The earwax.
Things just
like,
got
oh,
weird.
now. All right, let's try that again, Matt, because
Yes.
today is Friday.
Today is Friday. Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Friday, April 10th, 2015. I'm your host, Matthew Smith.
I'm Thursday David Reddick.
I'm Cameron Summerson.
I'm Ryan Whitwam.
Yeah, my name is Bob Severance. Welcome, everyone, to the show. It's been so long since we've been with you.
Yes.
I miss my people.
So long.
I thought you were going to say something else.
That's
Who,
what
me?
she said.
All right, let's get things kicked off with Code Google.
That's it.
That
That's
was
all you get.
that was short.
It is. Just
Feels
like you,
inadequate.
Matt.
That's the radio cut.
Oh.
All right, so just today, as many people across the country, nobody listening to the show, but many people across the country were pre-ordering their Apple Watch devices. There was a story that broke from The Verge regarding another option that may be coming to Apple heathens if they want to get a smartwatch on the wrist that actually works with their phone. So, Brian, what's going on with Android Wear? We seeing this coming soon?
Well, supposedly this is on the verge of happening. Haha.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, so Android Wear this whole time you've needed to have an Android phone, but supposedly there will be an app on iOS that will allow you to connect a device to your iPhone. But we don't know, of course, exactly when this is happening or what sort of capabilities it will have. Apparently, it'll be able to pull in notifications like you can from Android Wear or from Android devices, but then it'll have some Google Now cards, and it'll have deeper integration with Google's own apps like Gmail. But I'm not sure then, how Apple's going to feel about this, because they are, they really want people to buy that $500, $600, $700 Apple Watch, which is just up for pre-order now. And technically, they could deny the app. I mean, it would make them look really bad. But they do have rules in place that say you can't reference another platform in your app. So, I mean, they could say, no, this isn't allowed because Android is a competing platform. But I feel like they're kind of going to have to allow it, just because it'll make them look pretty bad if they don't.
I mean, Google could just change the name to Google Wear.
But I mean, on the same note, there's been other smartwatches that have worked. I mean, I don't really know that there's a significant justification for allowing a Pebble to work just fine on it and not allowing Android Wear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the distinction would be that Pebble is just a smartwatch and Android is a platform or device that competes directly with iOS.
That is true.
That's dumb justification.
I want a phone that runs Pebble OS.
That would be a terrible experience.
I want a Pebble.
With no touchscreen and a e-ink display. That would be perfect.
I just want a Pebble.
Like
I have
on the
one
ground,
actually,
like a
but it's
rock
really annoying.
you pick up.
Like a rock that you pick up and throw.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think you can probably find one of those pretty easily.
Yes, they have them around, like in your driveway.
Then you get a dock for it, and then you could rock out with your dock out.
He said rock when I talked about Pebble.
Oh, he also said dock.
But then the dock might get in your way, and then you'd be dock blocked. So
This joke is a stone's throw away from sucking really
I think
bad.
we're on a roll here.
yes, we are. All right, so
rock and roll.
So in addition to that little bit of news about Android Wear, we also found out that Google has now some official watch strap partners so that they can compete with the customization options available elsewhere. So Cam, what's the story there?
So, yeah, some custom bands from Clockwork Synergy, E3 Supply Company, and Worn and Wound Obviously not for every watch. Clockwork and E3 have bands for the Zen Watch, the G Watch R, the 360, and the Gear Live, and they start at just like $13, and they actually look. I mean, they look pretty good. Well, the Clockwork ones actually start at $13. The E3 ones are like $60. But my favorite is the worn and wound ones. They're only available for the Zen Watch, the G Watch, and the G Watch R. Man, they look so damn good though. They're like $65. I mean, if you want to spend $65 on a watch band, it's the way to go. They look really, really good. I'm actually kind of upset because they don't have them for the Sony smartwatch, and I just upgraded to the smartwatch like last week.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
those
just counterpoint here, I think they're really ugly.
Do you really?
I like them. The worn and wound ones.
The worn and wound ones to me are the worst.
The worn and wound.
I like them.
Oh, I love them. I especially in the pic on the site. I absolutely love the one that's on the G Watch. Like, that one's definitely my favorite.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like any of them.
I don't like any of them either. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think we can all agree the Clockwork Synergy faux alligator skin ones look.
Oh,
like
they're so
crap.
that's so horrible. I
Yeah,
wish.
and
Don't
God,
let
I wish they
don't
wouldn't
let
do
Artem hear you say that.
The E3 and Supplyco ones, like they look like they're inoffensive, but they're not exciting. But I still
you know,
like
you
them
can get
better
this-
than the worn and wound ones.
You can get this Clockwork Synergy fake alligator band, and then you can go to France and buy that limited edition Galaxy Alpha with the faux alligator skin back, and then you will be really just decked out with obnoxious.
And then you
stuff.
can like rub them together in a really weird way.
You'll be the realist. Just, I don't know, man. Like, I know when it came time to upgrade my watch from the G Watch that I knew I wanted the Sony smartwatch, and I have no regrets. I like the smartwatch a lot, but the band thing is just it really depresses me. I wish I
know,
could
and
get
it's-
better bands.
They won't even like sell you more. I think
I would.
yellow one in the U.S. now.
Yeah, there's a yellow one, but it's so ugly. And I want the white one. Like, I would pay dollars for the white one and the stainless steel one. But
That's the thing is, like, all of these companies are so terrible at rolling out accessories for even, like, flagship phones. And, like, a smartwatch, they barely have a justification to sell the watch in the first place. I mean, once it's out there, they're like, all right, well, that's done. Let's do something else that we'll make money on.
Yeah. I think that I'm going to review the watch, the LG Watch Urbane later this month, hopefully, and I'm looking forward to that because I think that is I like the look of those.
It's not bad looking.
That's the smartwatch definitely isn't the classiest of the watches, but it is, I think, the most useful, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it has GPS built in and everything. I mean, I think it looks pretty understated. It just looks like a fitness tracker, sort of. So people kind of assume that's what it is. But I mean, it's not like super stylish or anything.
That's why I wanted to.
How do we think the Apple Watch looks? Because that's relevant, I guess.
I still don't like the way that watch looks. I get that some people like it and aesthetics are highly subjective, but no.
I think some people like it just because it's Apple. Like I bet a lot of the same people who like it are a lot of the same people who talked a lot of trash about the fact that the first Android Wear watches were square.
Yeah, the thing about the Apple Watch is I think it looks reasonably good when you're looking at the screen like dead on, but when you see it at all from the side, it just looks the shape of it seems off to me. It's just like it doesn't look like it fits on your wrist. It's just like this little tiny like pillow of metal that just sort of is plopped right down on top of your wrist.
I will say this:
precious rectangle, a little more shiny potato.
Yeah, I mean, at least it bears a vague resemblance to the Zen Watch, which is a watch that I actually quite like. But the Zen Watch sort of it curves to sort of it looks like it belongs on your wrist more than the Apple Watch does.
I will say this: I feel like the screen is a step above. Like from what I've seen, it feels like the screen, the resolution, and the contrast on the screen just seems like it's a step above anything else.
I would not be surprised. But did they ever say what the resolution actually was? I know they said it was like a Retina class thing. So
It's
who knows?
Retina.
That could mean
You don't
any
need to
number
know
of
anything
things.
else.
Yeah.
I don't think it's usually higher than most Wear watches that use a full RGB layout.
I don't know.
I wonder if the
Apple's
internet.
always super vague. They never give actual numbers when it comes to stuff like that. You have to hunt it down always. They use their stupid buzzwords. Retina.
Somebody will figure it out if they have not already.
All right, well, in the meantime, we should move on to Android 5.5.1, which is not available for your device just yet, but it may be soon. Right, Kim?
Yes.
There
That's
you go.
all.
So,
Not 5.1.1.
5.1.1. So apparently it popped up in the SDK manager. So we know it's coming at some point, but that's essentially the only thing we know about it.
Yep.
Yeah, I just know it needs to happen because I have that bug on my Nexus 6 where if you take a phone call, sometimes the audio doesn't work, the microphone doesn't work, so the other party can't hear you, and that's kind of a lame problem to have.
I don't know if it's a bug or not, but my phone just decided it doesn't have a flash anymore.
Wow. Well,
So
mine's still on
That's,
5.0.
that's
so
a major life change. I think maybe the operating system upgrade. It's branching out a little bit.
So like
Flash.
the flashlight icon just disappeared from my quick settings menu. When you do the command through Google Now to turn on the flashlight, it tells me the flashlight is not installed on my phone. I'm like, really? Because I just used it yesterday. So
Reboot.
Flashlight is
I
having
rebooted about 4
crisis.
times. It's not there. And now I also discovered that when I try to take a picture, it won't let me turn the flash on.
Have you tried smacking it in your hand like an old flashlight?
No.
Just smack it.
I did put D batteries in it.
Have you
Oh.
tried setting it on fire?
Have you tried setting it to Wumbo?
Have you
No.
tried Chumba Wumba tub thumping?
M is for mega.
All right, so let's move on to Google's Mvno offerings that should be coming soon. It looks like they might be working on some deals that might make this a pretty tempting offer for people who travel quite a bit, right, David?
Yeah, so the Telegraph, which is a publication from the UK, said Google is in talks with 3 which owns networks in the UK, Italy, and Hong Kong, and I think there's a couple other areas where they operate networks. And they were trying to get a deal where people who subscribe to the Google MVNO in America, if they went to an area where there's 3 coverage, would pay the same rate for data overseas and for voice and text as they would domestically. And voice and text would obviously probably be unlimited, and data would be metered. So if you had a 4 gigabyte plan, you would be on that same 4 gigabyte plan if you went over to the UK and would be billed as you normally would. So it's essentially no added cost roaming. It's not free roaming because you're still getting charged the same rate you normally would at home, but it's no cost added roaming. And this makes sense. Google wants this service to be based heavily around Wi-Fi usage and conserving data, and so it seems like they're going to be charged on a kind of metered data basis, and the idea that you would be charged the same rate if you are in this country or another country makes a lot of sense and would be really, really nice, and I think we would all like that very much, please.
Very much so. You just need it in Barcelona, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's
which
what
3 is not a network in Spain, unfortunately.
Well, 'cause
but
that would
maybe
make
they're
them
talking
4.
with Vodafone as well, or Movistar, or there's one over there, Orange. That's the other one.
All right, so let's move on to YouTube news. We had some pretty glaring proof that there's going to be a subscription option for YouTube, which immediately rings back to all the days when people would tell me that Facebook was going to become pay-to-use very soon. But this actually might be legit, right, David?
It is legit. We got an email from Google saying, hey, we're going to offer an ad-free subscription option for your viewers here soon. You need to accept a new publisher licensing agreement, yada, yada, yada. And so there will be a subscription-based option in YouTube that will let you skip over advertisement videos who choose to accept the new EULA, or I guess not end-user license, it's a publisher license agreement. But anyways, and you will not see ads on those videos if you pay the subscription fee, which if they make it like really cheap, like if it's like $3, $5 a month, I mean, that could be a huge money maker potentially.
I would easily pay that. I've said
$5 a month, I
before,
would be on board with that all day long.
I've said for so long that I would pay money to not have to see another ad on YouTube because I hate the ads. I'm like, I want to watch this damn video. I don't want to see this crap about car insurance. You know, I need to see the video.
I would just be glad to pay $1 per month just so they can show advertisements that are relevant to the videos that my 5-year-old son is watching.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I know.
Oh yeah,
like
they're
some of the-
getting somebody. They're looking into that, aren't they, with YouTube Kids or whatever, and inappropriate ads.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, like my son watches most of his YouTube on the Roku, so there's no YouTube Kids for Roku yet. That would be nice. Are you listening?
So your
That
son
would be
sees
really
that
nice.
you've been watching Anaconda on repeat for the last 12 days.
Now, does it seem like they're being heavy-handed with this, or is because I mean there was a story we.
You can either accept the new agreement or you can not accept it. I mean, YouTube's basically Darth Vader here. Pray that they don't alter the deal further, and you will be forced to participate in a revenue-sharing program, whether that benefits you or not. And that's a big part of the reason some music artists have come out against YouTube recently with Music Key, because they have no idea what the voodoo going on behind there to calculate their revenue is, and if it works out for them, great, but if it doesn't, they have no recourse. So if you're on YouTube, you have to accept it if you want to keep monetizing your videos.
So essentially, if my understanding is correct, if I had a video channel and I was approached with this offer and I said no, then my understanding is that I would still get ad revenue from viewers who do not subscribe.
Yes.
But for viewers who do subscribe, they would not see ads, and I would get no revenue.
No, you get revenue, but there's no real transparency at this point about how that's going to work. It's going to be a calculated share of the entire subscription revenue stream.
Right. Okay. Well, thankfully, I don't run a popular YouTube channel, so I don't have to worry about these things. I don't know why that's thankfully. Never mind. All right, so moving on to Play Store news. Starting off with the interesting move by Google to block a particular game for violence, which kind of seems to go against what they've allowed in some other games, right, Ryan?
Yeah, so in 1997, a little game called Postal was released on PC. It was a sort of top-down isometric game that was just about blowing things up and shooting stuff, which is not uncommon in games. What set Postal apart is that I think it was just in really bad taste. You did a lot of things that obviously you would not admit to in polite company, and so this company has ported it to Android, and Google said no, we're not going to let you put that in the Play Store. So the original Postal banned from Google Play, and then they went to Amazon, and Amazon also said no, but then they came back and said actually no, that's okay. So now you can get it in the Amazon App Store for I think $1.99. I mean, I don't think it's really a very good game though. I don't think it was ever a good game, even in 1997. It was just so like out there and unapologetically violent that it kind of had a bit of kind of a following. And then I'm sure at some point somebody's going to make Postal 2 for Android. That was like, I think it came out in like 2001 or 2002 or something. It was in similarly poor taste, but it was a first-person shooter. And that one I could understand if Google said no, because there's a lot of really terrible stuff in that game. But the original Postal, it's not really dramatically different than all the other shooters that are in the Play Store already. But Google said no, we don't want this in there, even though their violence guidelines are they draw this line between graphic violence and gratuitous real violence, and obviously there's no real violence in Postal. But I mean, if it's just graphic violence, they should be able to rate it as high maturity and release it. So I don't know. I guess Googlers just were like, no, this is stupid. We're not going to release this.
I find the whole fact that they really regulate the violence factor, unless it's like outright hate speech, it's very unsettling to me that they even choose to get involved in this.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just it's just PR for them. They don't want to have things in the store that are sort of...
The thing to me, though, is because a video game is entertainment more than it is art in popular culture's view, it gets judged to a higher standard of,
Yes.
morality than, say, a book or a film.
Yes, this is absolutely true.
Lenient.
And that's why that's why Google catches flack when there are games in the Play Store that people are upset with. I mean, you would never, like you said, you would never have people like campaigning against Google for having a book in the Play Store that had some level of violence depicted in it. But I mean, I feel like Google is kind of in some ways just being realistic about this. Like, they know it's going to look bad for them to more people if they have things like this in their store.
Yeah,
and
I mean, at the same
reject
time, though, they're also cherry picking the kind of violence and offensive things they're okay and not okay with. Like, there was a port of Duke Nukem for the longest time in the Play Store. I think they lost their licensing deal with 3D Realms and had to pull it. But it's a highly offensive game as long as you can get past the terribly blocky early 3D graphics, and it's extremely sexist, and it uses tons of foul language, and it honestly is probably a more offensive game to certain groups than Postal would be. So it feels like they're not. I wonder how many levels a game has to go through before it gets the final call on, like, okay, this is something we're not going to allow.
Probably not as many as it should.
That's kind of the way I feel too, especially when it's a game with there's historical value there, even if it's pretty crappy historical value.
Yes, Postal is really. I mean, it is in a category of its own. It should be preserved for future generations to be confused by.
Indeed.
All right, so next we have an update to Google Calendar version 5.2, bringing back some features that some of us may have been missing on our phones, right, David?
Right. So if you wanted the month view in Google Calendar and did not have that, now you can have it. And that's the story. There's not much more to it.
Wasn't it? Didn't we find that it worked on like the Nexus 6 was that the ridiculousness? Was the Nexus 6 it didn't work on?
I don't recall, actually. I've not been keeping up with the Google Calendar month view drama, so I'm not aware of that particular situation.
Where's Liam when you need him? I bet you he would know.
Liam would exactly know the answer to that question. Liam is a guru of calendar knowledge.
All right, so lastly, we had some platform distribution numbers out this week. Ryan, what's going on in Android version news, I guess?
Well, Lollipop is up a little bit, and everything else is just ever so slightly down. Very little movement this time. I think the most interesting thing is that that just a few weeks after it was released, 5.1 is on the charts with 0.4%, which is really fast when you consider it took, I think, 3 months for 5.0 to show up on the charts after it was released. So 5.0 is up to 5.0%. So 5.4 total percent of devices are on some version of Lollipop, and I imagine that is going to start shooting way up now that the M9 and Galaxy S6 are out.
All right, let's move on to the rumor roundup.
It's time for the rumor roundup.
All right, so rumor roundup this week is all about LG, who is, needless to say, not very good at keeping secrets. Seems like they're doing a little bit of a better job this time around with kind of controlling, which bits of information get out. So I guess there's that. But lots of stuff was learned this week about the upcoming G4. So Ryan, what do we know?
Leather. We know leather. Now, we know several things, one of which apparently there's going to be at least a version of this phone with a leather back, which looks kind of not super good in the sort of the teaser image that they showed off. But they're really, all of their teasers have like leather incorporated in some way, so I guess that's going to be a big deal for LG. especially considering all of their phones thus far have been not super awesome plastic. So yeah, it's going to have an f1.8 camera, which is a wider aperture than they've had before, and they say that it should be dramatically better than their last one. Although the camera on the G3 was pretty good. It was I mean, LG has done okay with cameras in the past, but the G3's camera was in a lot of situations better than the Galaxy S5 even. Like, especially in low light, I feel like it always did better than Samsung at that time. So that supposedly will be better. Let's see. They also announced that they're going to have a new UX. It's LG UX 4.0, and it just looks the same. I don't even understand what LG is doing. I mean, their UI is okay. I don't hate it. I know David hates it a little bit, but this just doesn't look
ugly. I hate it. I hate it the most.
It's I mean, yeah. If you hate it, you're gonna still hate it because it looks pretty much the same. There's a little video you can look at. It's got a couple of small interface changes. A lot of the new stuff is in the camera interface. I guess they thought that was important enough to call it the UX 4.0 or whatever. So they also announced the screen that will be on the G4. It is just like last year. It's a 5.5-inch 1440p LCD. Although LG promises that this one isn't gonna suck. I mean, they didn't admit that the last one sucked, but it kind of was not a super awesome screen.
It definitely sucked a little bit.
I mean, it's like
not a good
it was
screen.
the first. I think it was that was the first 1440p phone, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
first
I mean,
mainstream one. It wasn't the first one.
Yeah. That's right. There was that Oppo one or whatever. Yeah, so I mean, the screen on the G3 was, I mean, it was like crisp and everything, but the brightness was just real bad. I mean, if you have auto brightness on that phone, it's basically the equivalent of like the bottom quarter of
the auto
the actual
brightness is
scale.
Brutal. On
Because
the
they
G3.
knew that screen will just devour the battery if you have it past like a quarter brightness.
Yeah,
So,
the problem with the IPS tech is it is not aged well in terms of color reproduction and brightness for them at all.
Yeah, I mean, when you're cramming pixels into a screen that size with that density, and you need to shine a backlight through it, it's getting to the point that like they have to pump out so much more light to get to a reasonable brightness that it just uses too much power.
Yeah, so it sounds like they'll have wider apertures in the pixels as per Apple's description. I'm going to guess this is a similar technological advancement that's allowing the greater efficiency.
Yes, they said that it will be 30% brighter. This panel is the new one, without increasing the power consumption.
Yeah.
That would be good if they can pull it off. I mean, that was by far the biggest problem.
They also said the color
screen.
gamut increased to
Yes.
120%
Yes.
of sRGB, so that's
It'll
good
look
if it's
a
tuned
little
right.
a little extra saturated for an LCD, which I mean they probably kind of need.
Yeah, because the current one, I mean, it used to be really bad, and then they did the software update to it, and it looks a little better. But yeah, the colors were already a bit. Some things were oversaturated, and some things were way undersaturated, and the white balance was really weird.
Yeah. Okay, so then I think the last bit of news about the G4, unless I'm missing something, I think this is it. They're going to give out 4,000 phones in 15 countries that people will be able to play with for 30 days. I guess the implication is that they will have to give them back then? Is that the deal?
Yeah, so they're going to get them for 30 days, and then, yeah, you send them back. And when you will get the phone, it sounds like, I mean, you'll probably get it like a week before they come out or something. And they say they're going to give out 4,000, or it could just be like a day. I mean, LG may not be able to risk it like Huawei's doing with their contests.
Yeah, so like, let's say that you're chosen for this, and you get the phone like a week or two before it's available to anyone else in the world. I mean, are they going to make people sign like agreements that they're not allowed to like sell it?
Which is enough for most people, but I mean, what are you going to do if somebody leaks it? I mean,
yeah, somebody is going to.
Product,
they have to expect.
There's not going to be identifiable marks.
At least one of these 4,000 people will end up being a complete dope that sells the phone for like $1,000, and then like just says, "Oh well, I guess I'll just pay them whatever the phone costs," even though that's probably not the way it works. Somebody's going to do it.
Yeah, somebody's definitely going to do it. And I mean, that's the risk you run with this kind of thing. But LG also has generally been, their phone is always leaked before it comes out, and it doesn't seem like they really try to stop it. They don't really care.
Yeah, it's like this time they're just like, whatever, we'll just leak it ourselves. Who cares?
Yeah, we're already calling it the G4. We won't say anything else about it except what the screen
here's
is.
the back of it. There's leather and stuff, and I don't know, 16 megapixel camera, some RAM, whatever. Who cares? Just buy it.
So we will see it when it comes out on the 28th, and we will be there in New York. They're doing 5 locations for this one. It's going to be New York, Turkey, France, so in Paris, and then London, and then I think Singapore or something, and maybe Beijing. I don't remember.
You know what would be really fantastic is if it had a sealed-in battery. I would think it was hilarious.
I am going to say, based on sources that shall remain nameless, that it will still have a removable battery and a micro SD card slot.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I just think it would just be great if it had a sealed battery.
I do not believe the standard model will have a leather back, though.
Yeah, that would be unusual. And I mean, it doesn't really look great from the pictures, so I don't know.
If they were going to go leather, they should have gone football leather. It's obviously the way to go.
Yeah, that's much more classy. I think it's the stitching and like the seam that they have. You can go and look at the post.
Freak for Dell makes a good point that the contest could be after it. You could get it before it's released, as opposed to before it's announced.
Well, that pretty much blows the whole theory that, hey, maybe they'll actually have this thing available for pre-order.
Now Huawei is taking the extreme risk of actually sending people phones before they're announced. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, my guess is with the Huawei thing is if they were really concerned about it, my guess is that they would probably release a pre-release like a slightly different version of the phone than what ends up coming out. Like maybe the case it's in is slightly different. I don't know.
I think they just would prefer the attention at all. Even if it means getting leaked, people still paying attention, and that's what they want.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on to the hot sheet.
That's some hot sheet.
All right, so HTC has announced a new variation of the M9. Only a couple months after the original M9 was released. So what's new with the M9 Plus, David?
Less than a couple months. That's like a month since the M9 was announced. So the M9 Plus is basically you take an M9 and then you put a duo camera on it with the 16 megapixel sensor, I think. I don't remember. And then a fingerprint scanner on the front, which I'm not clear if that is a touch scanner or a swipe scanner, because it kind of looks like the swipe scanner on the old Galaxy S5. But
did the Max on whatever Verizon a couple years ago, was that a touch scanner?
No, it was a swipe scanner.
Oh, well that
was like the really old school style, I think, too. Like it was the light thing, the IR scanner. So this will be touch based, and hopefully it's it's probably in the video, but I'm too lazy to watch it right now. Anyways, it's got the duo camera, which, as you know, is essentially useless. And I think otherwise that's the same rear camera if you don't count the extra sensor as the regular M9. And same kind of construction and design, except for the fingerprint scanner cutting out the middle of the bottom boom sound speaker, which I'm sure will
really bad.
Yeah, it looks really, really not nice. Like it's like somebody took an already fussy car design and then put a hood scoop on it, and it's like it doesn't look very good.
Can we put a bigger spoiler on the back of this thing, you think?
Yeah, pretty much. And can we paint it a contrasting color, say neon green?
And flames. We'll put flames on it. That makes it go faster.
It is an ugly, ugly phone. Anyways, it's only confirmed for China. It has a MediaTek octa-core processor, which I can see a release in Europe where LTE still isn't that widespread, but I seriously doubt we'll ever see this phone in America.
But that button on the front would be a perfect place for a Verizon logo.
It would. It's screaming for a Verizon logo, literally screaming.
Yes, the Verizon tram stamp. Did they wait? So I missed. Did they actually say that is it a home button or is it just the?
I do not know if they actually said that. It may be in the hands-on video. If he presses the button, then I'm gonna guess it does something. But if not, then it's even worse than it could be.
That would. I mean, it wouldn't even make sense though if it were a button because there's an on-screen home button like half an inch above it.
Yeah, it is completely ridiculous.
Well, maybe.
What are you doing?
Maybe it's a camera button.
Could be.
Dedicated camera button where everybody else puts their home button. That would make sense.
Totally.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Not confusing at all. I'm skimming through the video and I don't see anybody pushing this thing.
Maybe they haven't decided yet.
Yes.
Maybe even the people demoing it agree it's useless.
They won't even know like when they release it. Like half of the units they ship will have an actual button and half of them will just be a fingerprint scanner. Who knows?
What a mystery.
What a mystery. All right, so the next device announcement we had to mention this week is the ZTE Blade S6, which S6 is not brand confusion at all, apparently. So that's announced. David, where can you get that, and why would you?
I don't know, and I'm gonna guess again China. It's like ZTE took the iPhone 6 Plus and the Galaxy S6 and like they were like kiss, and then this was the result.
That's not how babies are made, David.
It's not, but I'm gonna guess that's ZTE's basic understanding of the process.
So ZTE is Mike Tyson, is what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, pretty much. So this phone it's a 720p display with a Snapdragon 615 processor and all the kind of mid to high range specs that you would want in your phone that looks vaguely like an iPhone / Galaxy S6 and that you would put in the case as to obfuscate its identity. So good on ZTE for just, sticking it out with the lowest common denominator there.
Right up. All right, so some device launch information to divvy up here. The Asus Mvno Pad 7 is going to be coming to AT&T on April 10th today. Since it's Friday and we're a day late doing the show, today, April 10th, for $175 off contract. If you don't recall, the Mvno pads are a pretty budget line that Asus puts together that runs on the what is it, the Kai platform that they run on? I forget what the platform's called. Either way, it's a budget device, so $175 for a LTE-enabled tablet, not necessarily all that bad. So, anyways, you can get that at AT&T starting today.
You may remember from January that we talked about the Android TV set-top box, the Razer Forge TV. Well, now you can pre-order the Forge TV along with a premium servo controller for $150 from Amazon, and it's announced to be released on May 1st.
All right, so device updates to get to next, starting with Android 5.1, rolling out to a whole bevy of Google Play devices. Starting off with the LG G Pad 8.3, also the Sony Z Ultra and the HTC One M8, all the Google Play editions getting that update. And then we're hearing that the HTC One M7 is going to be getting the 5.1 update very soon. Again, all of the Google Play editions of those devices.
So if you want Lollipop on your AT&T HTC One M8, should be available via OTA. Hooray! If you have the M8, the One M8, you get the lollipops. You get Lollipop, and you get Lollipop, and you get Lollipop.
And now you
get
to be a member of the Lollipop Guild?
That's right, Matt.
Is that what happens? All right, so lots of Samsung devices also getting their Lollipop updates this week, starting off with AT&T's Galaxy S5, the S5 on US Cellular, also the Sprint S5 Sport, the S4 on AT&T, the Note 3 and Note Edge on Sprint, all getting the 5.0 Lollipop updates.
And the 5.0 Lollipop also comes to T-Mobile's LG G3 via OTA on April 7th. So you have to go back in time in order to get that one.
I haven't seen so many lollipops since the last Candy Crush Saga sale.
Oh, I thought you were going to say since you tried to lure those kids to your car. How did I ruin your innocence? Freak Fidel says I ruined your innocence.
Making the phones kiss.
Oh. Oh, I get it.
Explain the finer points of phone reproduction.
Right, everybody knows there has to be some breast groping involved for babies to come.
And I think it has something to do with the
a
USB.
very, very empty micro SD card slot.
Wait, is it? I thought it has something to do with the micro USB port, doesn't it? I think you have to insert something.
Something about electrons flowing all the way to the processor, and the best swimming electrons win.
And, I mean, then there's quick charge if you're into that sort of thing.
But yeah, I mean, then there's wireless charging. I mean, that's some kinky stuff.
Getting in touch with your inner chi.
Inner chi.
I'm not comfortable with where this is going.
I'm not even sure. I'm not entirely sure what we're referencing.
I'm on the
here.
Wireless Power Consortium.
Like, what does that mean? That could totally be something inappropriate, but we have no way of knowing. Literally, it's impossible to know what that means.
All right, let's move on to. Hey.
Wait, I just wanted to say one more thing, Matt.
What?
Phones don't have wieners.
That is the title of the show, by the way. I hope. It better be.
You said something. You said.
I mean, I guess
Verizon
all
tramp
phones and
stamp. I thought
technically
that was not
females. They all have female ports.
Have we not done a tramp stamp episode title?
I don't think so.
It sounds vaguely familiar. Hey, let's move on to product
philosophical
reviews.
issues of our time.
Product reviews. It's time for product reviews. The HTC One M9 review, the phone only HTC could build for the third time with David. That guy.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the kind of HTC taste test challenge. I'm gonna put two phones in front of the webcam.
Oh, I thought you were gonna put them in your mouth.
Which one is the M9, based on your perspective? Which is the opposite of mine?
The one on the left is the M9, based on my perspective.
I'm gonna say the one on the left.
I'm going to say it's the one on the right.
I'm going to say the one on the left.
Okay, well, Cameron's wrong, but
And you know, the only way the way I told is from the power button. That's the only thing that you can sort of.
oh, you guys can see the power button. I was gonna
Actually,
say,
I got it based on the size of the HTC logo.
oh, that's another way to do it. The other way to do it is that the M8 has the shiny, the chamfered edges, and the M9 has the solid edges that are not.
That doesn't come through
chamfered.
quite as well on the
I- I only guessed the one on the right because everybody else was guessing the one on the left. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is what I would have done in that situation.
You know what's
That's
kind of
the,
ridiculous is like we have to like say now what are the ways to tell these phones apart?
Yeah,
It's very
so they
subtle.
look like crazy. Now, if you go to the back, obviously they do look a little more different from each other. But using them, using the Lollipop update on Sense 6 and then using Sense 7 with Lollipop, the number of differences aside from the theming engine that HTC has created, which is, I mean, if you're really into that, it's a good feature. But other than that, Sense 7 has really nothing going on for it. It's completely the same. And so an M8 running Lollipop feels almost exactly like an M9 Lollipop, just with a camera that is, about 60% worse. I mean, that's really the only major difference. The M9 also gets worse battery life, which is to me like the deal breaker. Like if you're going to come from, the previous phone, be like, by the way, our new phone, which is basically similar in most ways, also gets worse battery life. And if that doesn't sell phones, I don't know what will.
And it has a larger battery, does it not?
It does, and yet the processor, and it feels no faster, and sometimes it's slower, and the battery life is just definitively worse. The camera is better, but compared to even the Nexus 6's camera, it's still not a great camera. And that's it. I mean, don't buy that phone. Just don't do it. If you're thinking about doing it, don't. Just do something else instead. I mean, maybe don't even buy a phone. Maybe just go without a phone.
Is that preferable to buying this phone? Like,
Or you could just buy an M8 for half the price, and it's basically the same thing with better battery life.
There you have it.
so you're better off even selling any phone that you already have and just going with no phone than getting this phone. That's what I took from that. You'd be better off just having nothing at all.
That's right.
No comment, apparently.
That's right. I think what he's trying to say is he's done with his review. No more syllables will be
it's
coming
hard
out.
for me to talk about the One M9 without just getting kind of sad about HTC.
Is HTC doomed?
I think they in the next 2 to 3 years, I will be very surprised if they are still around in the capacity they are today.
You think they go back to white label?
I think they go back to white label or they get bought. We'll see.
Believe it or not, most people don't know that human beings have more than 5 senses, like the ability to feel temperature. And sense 7 is actually the ability to feel pain. How appropriate.
Ouch.
Ouch.
Alrighty then.
There's another product review.
Are you going to give it a... Alright.
No, I'm not going to press the button for this one. You can't make me. It's time for product review number 2, the Samsung Galaxy S6 with Ryan Witwamius.
So yes, it's the Galaxy S6. In most of the ways that the M9 is like the same phone as the M8 and is kind of boring, the Galaxy S6 is really unexpected. It doesn't look very much like the Galaxy S5, except in that they are both Samsung phones and are both sort of rectangular. It's got a glass back, as you probably heard. The band around the edge of the phone is actually metal now instead of plastic that is painted a chrome color, which was really obnoxious. And the fingerprint sensor is now something you can just touch. It's like Apple's Touch ID, so it is much easier to use and it works pretty quickly. It's running an Exynos processor instead of the Snapdragon 810, which I feel like is probably a better chip. I mean, it still does get warm and it does eat through power. I mean, I think that these new ARM cores are still just kind of not super efficient, but I haven't noticed any particular problems with it. The battery life is a little bit worse than the Galaxy S5, but it does have a smaller battery. I mean, it is overall a more svelte phone. I mean, it's still TouchWiz though, so if you haven't been a fan of some Samsung's phones in the past, you're probably still going to be slightly annoyed by this one. But to Samsung's credit, they have gone through and taken out a lot of the apps and services that have been built in for the last few years, and other things are just disabled. So it's they started doing that with the Galaxy S5. They took out a lot of things. They've taken out even more now. So like when you start up the phone, you don't have to turn off a dozen things just to like use the phone, so that's nice. Performance is overall pretty good. There were a couple of weird hitches, but I mean it's a Samsung phone and that sort of thing still happens. Although one thing I haven't really noticed on a Samsung phone before is that widgets on the home screen are really laggy. It's noticeably different than if you use a third-party home screen. Like scrolling through a Twitter client widget is just is super herky-jerky on the TouchWiz launcher. So I don't know. They need to update that, fix it, do whatever. I don't know, because that's annoying. There's also no way to turn off this parallax thing it has. It's sort of like iOS where the wallpaper shifts as you move the phone around, and I find that pretty annoying. You can't shut it off. So another thing I'm not super pleased about with the software. But I mean, if you replace the home screen, most of that stuff goes away, and it is a fine software experience otherwise. The theme store could make it even better, but right now all the themes are pretty ugly or not really completely done. So I don't know. Maybe they'll update that stuff. But I mean, just on the basis of like the screen, which is fantastic, and the camera, which is also fantastic, this is a pretty good phone to get.
I'm just not happy about the battery life being mediocre. That makes me not happy.
Yeah, you know what I think is going to happen is that Samsung is going to sort of position the Note as its like long-lived battery life thing, and that'll be a little bit chunkier. Maybe it'll even still have a removable battery. I don't know, but I mean, it'll be that phone you get if you need a lot of battery life, and then they sort of differentiate the S series as like this one is small and looks good, and it gets a day of battery life.
Yeah, I wonder if the Note will go unibody with the ditching the removable battery, or if they're going to recognize that there's a power user audience that's going to want the SD card and the swappable battery.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I mean, I feel like if you're going with a larger device like that, there are probably ways to build a phone that feels solid and you can still get into.
Oh, I mean, the Note 4 already feels very solid because it is unibody construction apart from the.
Yeah, I mean, the Note. The thing about the Note is like it still has this like I don't know if you can see like that texture of the like the fake leather that they need to stop. They need to stop.
It's funny because on the white version it's a hard plastic as opposed to a tacky black plastic. They do different textures because the white one would stain otherwise.
Yeah, but I mean the metal rim on the Note makes it feel a lot more premium than like Samsung's older devices. Obviously, they started doing this when the Galaxy S5 caught a lot of flack for being all plastic. But yeah, I mean, if they changed up maybe the back material and still made it a removable panel, they could probably get away with still having a removable battery.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think they might do that. It's hard to say though. I mean, Samsung could just go ditch the removable battery because honestly, in their the big competitors for them in the next few years are going to be the Chinese phones that have the top-tier processor, a good display, not necessarily a class-leading one, and a really big battery. And most of them offer the sealed battery because you can get a little more capacity in there that way, and you don't have to deal with packaging the battery in such a way that the user can remove it. So maybe they will ditch it, or maybe they'll keep it as a point of differentiation.
I don't know. I feel like the size of the Note line gives them the opportunity to put as big of a battery in the thing as they want. So I think, honestly, the removable aspect of the battery is even more optional with the Note than it is with the.
If they can stick like a 4,200 milliamp hour in there, and if this means it being sealed, like I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they will because I think they're very concerned about component cost.
Yeah, and one thing though that about the Galaxy S6 being sort of unibody and glass is that the camera hump is like super noticeable. It like pops up like 2 or 3 millimeters above the back of the phone because there's no like it's not a plastic back, so they can't sort of taper up to the lens at all. So it kind of sticks out awkwardly, and the phone never lays completely flat. But I mean, camera modules are kind of one of those things like they have to be a certain size to be any good. So I mean, and the camera is super good. So I mean, I guess you just have to put up with it.
Yeah, I think Samsung's going to send us a phone here or send me, I should say, a phone next week. I'm looking forward to trying out the camera for sure because it seems like it does some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, the HDR is super impressive this time. I mean, it was pretty good before, but like,
that's good. Because I mean, honestly, it's between Samsung and Google for HDR performance. Everybody else isn't doing a good job at all.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Samsung's HDR stuff is it captures so fast. Like with the Nexus 6, if you do an HDR shot, you have to sort of hold the phone still for
you have to wait for both the beeps, the boom boom.
Yeah, the Galaxy S6 is super fast taking pictures, and I mean, and the HDR is pretty good. So, and it has optical image stabilization too.
I'm going to guess it's got Samsung's own image signal processor in there because they did the SoC, so maybe they're able to somehow synergize the. I wonder if they're using a Sony sensor or something built in-house. I haven't looked at the teardowns.
I do not know. But yes, good phone if you can deal with TouchWiz.
Which, I mean, if you put Google Now Launcher on it, I mean, it's not that.
Yeah, I mean, that's
bad.
I mean, that's what I did. After I finished going through the launcher and everything for the review, is I just used the Google Now Launcher. It feels better.
Cool.
All right, let's move on to app updates. All right, it's been a long time coming for Amazon Prime Instant Video on Android tablets. It's finally here. Cameron, I don't know how much of a chance you've gotten to use this particular piece of software, but I have personally found that the user experience is not great.
I haven't used it at all, honestly. If I use Amazon Prime Instant Video, it's on my Fire TV or Roku. I have never used it. I've never used it on an Android device at all, to be completely honest with you, just because it's a damn hassle to... There's crap I don't want to deal with to install it. So when it first came out on phones, you had to get it... You could kind of sideload it through the Amazon app, but Google said no and put a stop to that, so Amazon had to release a second app and blah, 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 and it was garbage. But so then instead of releasing the Prime Instant Video app in Google Play, Amazon decided that it would only make the app available in the Amazon App Store. So that's where you get it for phones, and now that's where you can get it for your Android tablet as well. It's basically the same thing as far as I can tell. It's the same on phones and tablets. I guess it's kind of like a web wrapper is really all it is. So no Chromecast support, don't expect that. No casting support whatsoever. I guess, the way Amazon sees it, if you want to watch Prime Instant Video on your TV, you should get a Fire TV or a Roku. So, I don't know, maybe one day it'll get Chromecast support, but that day is not today. You're lucky enough to get it on your Android tablet, not just your phone. But, again, if you want it, you got to install the Amazon App Store, and that's the main reason why I haven't tried it, because I'm not going to install the Amazon App Store.
I know, so I was about to say, so, like, is it requires that the App Store stay installed? Like,
Yes.
if you have
Yes.
like you have apps from the App Store, you have to keep installed. It's the same thing
Yeah.
for Prime Video. That's dumb, Amazon.
Yeah, any
Okay,
app
so-
that you get.
Something I would just like to point out, because I don't think this is probably going to show up very well, but I have Amazon Instant Video on my phone. When I open it up, it redirects you to the Amazon app, the Android Amazon app, where you select which video you want to watch. Unfortunately, as you can see, my children dominate our instant video usage. I don't enjoy Timu, Mizumi, or Dora the Explorer, especially myself. When you do that on there, it does it in the Amazon app, because I have the Amazon app where you can buy videos and apps through it. I don't know if I had reverted back to the new streamlined one that's still on the Play Store, if it would still do that. But for comparison's sake, when you load it up on the tablet, which this is not really showing up very well on the camera, but when you load it up on the tablet, you can see that it actually opens up a Chrome browser tab where you select the videos you want to watch, and then it redirects you back to the app once you've selected the video. And it's really just this super... So it's like not even just the installation process that's super jinky, it's the whole thing, the whole experience. It's
I can't even get it to redirect me back. It just tells me I don't have Flash, even though I've got the Instant Video app. So, I don't know.
When
Yeah.
asked why it wasn't similar to the native experience provided on Amazon Kindle Fire, Jeff Bezos slapped our correspondent.
Yeah, it's pretty... it's just pretty bad. It's all I can really
I
say.
can't even get it to work.
It's terrible.
I don't understand. Like, I guess they released it because they got tired of customers complaining about not having it on Android.
That
So,
is
like, you know what?
completely it. And they're like, you know what? Here it is.
Here it is.
Here's your stupid app.
Yeah,
Use
now
my
people,
side.
every time
Bitches.
people email to complain, they're like, "Hey, look, it exists right here. Here's the link, dummy."
They're
So
like,
now we can complain about how it works, not the fact that
yeah.
it's not.
Here's your dumb, stupid app. We had Jeff, who's an intern, work on it on weekends for the last 8 months.
And then we fired him, so it's never getting updated ever.
Yeah.
Jeff, by the way, is a strict iOS user.
Yes.
Are you saying he doesn't use a Fire phone?
Jeff's
Oh,
only
Lord.
test device was actually a original Galaxy Tab 10.1.
It's still running Honeycomb.
I don't like Jeff.
Me either.
Hey, Jeff's actually the name of a new writer for Android Police, so we all like Jeff.
Yeah, this other Jeff or not.
No-
I mean,
no
I'm
to
skeptical
us
of
that
anybody named Jeff now.
You shouldn't
but-
use Jeff as a generic name for a jerk.
We don't like Jeff the intern.
Use Bob. That's a jerky name.
It's especially nice that you called him an intern and he's the new writer. So
We'll call him Jeremiah in the future.
Yeah.
Jeremiah.
Was a bullfrog?
That's
I was going to say, wasn't that guy a bullfrog?
I don't
Fun
know.
fact, have you ever heard a bullfrog scream?
Oh, is
That's
that
not
like
a fact at
is
all.
that-
That's a question.
Is that the
Yes.
sequence to Silence of the Lambs or something?
I think that wasn't that the tagline of a movie? In space, no one hears bullfrogs scream.
Oh my God! Hold on. Before we finish, since we're talking about taglines of movies, I would like to bring up the Human Centipede 3 for just a minute, if I can.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if we should
I
bring
think
that
that
up
would
ever.
bring up many things, including
Please tell
the
me that
contents of my
everyone has
stomach.
watched the trailer for the Human Centipede 3.
No, I watched the trailer for the first one and it scarred me for life.
Oh my
I
God! I
refuse to have
watched
anything
the
to do with
movie.
these movies.
I haven't watched the second movie because my wife was like, "No, hell no." She refused. We watched
Your
the
wife
first
is
one.
your wife is a smart woman, Cameron.
She is not as smart as you think because she married me, but she won't. She refuses to watch the second or third one. I'm definitely going to watch the second one at some point now. But the tagline for the movie, oh my God, where did it go? It's oh my God.
It's going to be
I had
upsetting.
it.
I can already tell.
The tagline. It's like the best tagline I've ever seen for a movie, and now I
Let me
can't.
guess. The tagline is just when the shit couldn't get any grosser.
No. It's I don't know if it's necessarily a tagline, but it repeats it throughout the trailer. It's eat, digest, repeat. The taste will never leave your mouth.
Ew.
It's just not acceptable.
I can confirm I'm never watching this movie.
It just makes me hold on, I'm gonna see. Here's one of those. I was gonna watch the trailer on YouTube, but now guess what? I have a 15-second ad that I have to sit through. YouTube, take my $7 and take this damn ad away from me.
Yeah, Cameron. When Cameron wants to see people pooping in each other's mouths, he needs it immediately.
I need it right now. So apparently this one takes place in a prison, and they build a 500-person Human Centipede. 500 people.
There's something wrong that this movie could actually get made.
You know, I've been looking for a good diet scheme, and this seems like this is as good as anything else. So let's just roll with that.
How'd you like to be an extra in that movie?
How would you like to be the main
I
character?
hear it's repetitive.
Oh. Yeah. They say it's the final chapter, so I guess it's gonna be the last.
It was they always intended it to be a trilogy.
I hear they give you your lines, but they go in one ear and come out the other.
Oh!
Yes. Eat, digest, repeat. It just keeps saying the taste will never leave your mouth. Yeah, that's it. The taste will never leave your mouth.
Ugh.
I mean, how? You know what? But
I don't know.
guess
I've heard the script seems pretty recycled.
it's
Yeah, it's the same old shit.
Oh man, you know what? It might not be so bad to be the person in the very front of the Human Centipede, right?
I bet it's still pretty bad.
I bet it's not as bad. Imagine if you're in position 2 through 500.
Look, I'm not really comfortable proclaiming any position in this made up contraption of human suffering to be in any way okay. So I don't think there's going to be.
As much as the part of me that reads Reddit would like to have a 20-minute discussion about the physical logistics of the 500-person Human Centipede, I think maybe we should move on.
We should probably.
Yay!
I feel like we
the
should
show
have
not
probably
over?
moved on before we ever started with that, but I couldn't help myself.
Oh, are we not even done with the show yet? Because yikes.
We have other news to talk about. There's still other news.
Okay. Well, we should leave all that in though.
No, it'll be gone. Sorry.
All of it.
None of that poop will stay around for redigestion.
All right, other news.
It is time for other news. Go.
All right, so in this edition of other news, we have news from Smart Car, the maker of cars that are smart. They've got an interesting route with their infotainment system, or lack thereof, David.
That's right. Smart has they've gone for the idea, which actually a lot of people on Reddit have talked about, where what if I just buy a car and my phone or my tablet is the infotainment system? It's the brains, and it just hooks up to the audio and other various inputs the car can provide, and I don't need the screen. And so Smart, which is a joint venture of Mercedes-Benz and what is it? Is it Renault? I think. They said in their new car, which is already out in Europe, by the way, it's going to come out in America later this year. So they say you buy a smart car, and there's going to be an app which you can already download on the Play Store, and you'll download that app, and then you'll hook up the phone in your car via Bluetooth, I think. And then you'll put your phone in the adjustable dock and hook it up to power in the car, and that'll be your controls for navigation, music, and other stuff through the proprietary Smart Car app. This makes a lot of sense. Android Auto is a thing, obviously, but if you don't buy a car with Auto, which is 99.995% of cars on sale today, there's going to be a market for cars that work well with your smartphone that don't necessarily do CarPlay or Android Auto. And so Smart's kind of doing their thing here, and it looks interesting. Without trying, it's hard to say how good it'll be, but it's an alternative, and it's one that doesn't require an expensive big touchscreen in the car, and instead uses your existing smartphone to accomplish a lot of in-vehicle infotainment functions.
There you go. Yeah, I think that this should just be like a complete option. Like they give you options to like upgrade your sound system and stuff like that. Well, how about I just have the option to downgrade my infotainment system? Because seriously,
it makes almost too much sense.
Yeah, you could do this, and you could use that the Automate app, and you could basically just have Android Auto in your car without having to spend a lot of money on it.
Yeah, in all honesty, you could just develop a simple framework for cars that would live on the car's the memory on the car, and that would provide you your APIs and basic framework to communicate with the hooked up phone that just sits in the dock, and that's how Android Auto could work. But instead, they're going the head unit route and want to project into the car, which, eventually probably leads to embedded applications that don't necessarily require a phone for everything. Unfortunately, the industry is going in a direction, generally speaking, that is not friendly to the idea of simple end-user upgradability, though it's still better than where it is now. Not to say that Smart's idea here isn't an interesting one.
Great. All right. Well, voicemails. Where did we land with the voicemail?
Well, we did have a voicemail that came in a day after the last show. It was a little bit long, so we just wanted to remind you guys, if you do send voicemails in, make sure they're, if it's a complex voicemail, make sure it's less than a minute. Try to be in that time frame. And if it's just a simple question, maybe 30 seconds. And also make sure the audio is clear and audible. You're quick to the point, and the likelihood of being on the show will be better. I think this one, just for the length of it, we're going to skip it this week. If you want to repost the question, feel free to call back in. And yeah.
I would actually go as far as to say it's almost guaranteed if you do all those things, you'll be on the show.
If it's
it'll pretty much happen.
If you would like to be internet famous for a few minutes, then all you have to do is pay attention to us, please.
We need your attention. All right, so contests are always going live at androidpolice.com/contest, except right now there's not one, but keep your eyes peeled for that. And Bob, I think we can cue the outro, sir.
We can do that. Well, we hope you enjoyed the show. As always, you can send your feedback to podcast@androidpolice.com. You can also call us at 530-HELLO-AP. That's 530-435-5627. Find us on Twitter at Android Police, Google+, and Facebook. That's the hand sign for
So
Facebook.
my $50 G watch shipped.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That is
Liam
pretty
said
cool.
his ship.
I thought, I mean, I don't know, like, I just couldn't bring myself to order one. I just don't, I don't.
I mean, for
need it
$50,
in any way.
why not?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not ever
Well,
gonna
you
wear
already
it.
have all of the Android Wear watches, don't you? Aside
Well,
from
I had said most of them back. I only have 2.
oh,
Only 2? I have 0.
well, I want a second one. If it comes out for iOS, I want a secondary device I can use to test Wear on iOS.
Yeah, I thought about ordering one too, but by the time I actually got around to doing it, they were already sold out. So I was like,
Bummer.
whatever. I just got rid of my G Watch. If I really wanted it, I would have just kept it.
That's illogical.
Oh, I found out the resolution of the Apple Watch.
You did.
So apparently the Watch Kit SDK tools tells developers how big the screens are. Okay, so there are 2 different sizes of the watch, and they have different resolutions because of course they do.
Wow.
That seems
so
very
the-
anti-Apple. Like that's like very non-Apple-like.
So the 38 millimeter one, the small one, is 272 by 340, which is lower than I thought it would be, and the 42 millimeter one is 312 by 390.
Oh, so that's pretty high res.
I mean, it's towards the upper range of Android Wear stuff, but I mean,
Yeah,
there are
aren't,
Android
like,
Wear watches that are 320 by 320.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think aren't most of them 320 by 320?
We said 390 by 360, right?
Yeah,
390 by
It's
316.
312 by 390 is the big one.
Oh, okay. Well, that's still significantly more than 320 by 320.
Yeah, I mean, it's more. I don't know if it's like significantly different when you're looking at a thing on your wrist. I mean, I don't know. I was just expecting them to. I was expecting it to be higher. I don't know why.
Yeah, I kind of was too.
500 by 500. Yeah. Anyway,
100
I
is
gotta
not a
go.
word.
About 20% more.
I got
pixels.
things to go does, so I got to
Yeah.
go.
Well, it's Friday, so it's Friday.
Yeah, I can go get down.
Yeah,
Gotta
I'm
get
gonna
down.
depart as well. So I will see you guys and everybody next week.
Deuces.
See yas.
Hey, Matt and Bob, real